All right, hopping in real quick to let you know about something we're super excited about. If you've known the show for any length of time at all, you'll know that Steven and I are both musicians. We've played together in bands for something like 20 years at this point, and we currently have a duo that's just the two of us, and we just put a new single out. It's available worldwide. I'll let Steven tell you how to find it, what it's called, what it's all about, and then we'll carry on with the episode. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, the single is called In Memoriam. Our band name is Token Sacrifice. So if you just look us up on your favorite app, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you use, you should be able to quickly find us. We got a single there, and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple of old tracks as well you can find on most of the platforms, but this one specifically deals with like people that we've lost in our life. It's very meaningful to us, and we hope you like it as well. Anyway, until next time, have a great day. Welcome to the Working Man's Weightlifting Show, the show where working men talk about weightlifting. I'm your host, Nick Wiley, and I'm joined tonight by my co-host and younger brother, Mr. Steven Wiley. Steven, welcome to the studio. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing well.
I welcomed you as if it's not half yours, but you know, it is in my house. So
it's probably not half mine.
Well, yeah. Legally, it's all mine. But,
100%.
Just to set the record straight, you did contribute a massive amount of physical labor in the construction of this facility. So in spirit, it is partially yours.
As well as all the homes I've worked in.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, well, thanks for joining us. If you're new here, what do we do in this show? It's in the name, really.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Did you want me to expand on that? Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
We lift weights and talk about it on the show as working men.
That's right. That's right. But specifically, we both work in different sort of walks of life. I like to call myself sort of a sky blue collared worker. I am an IT consultant and occasionally have to go out in the field and, pick things up. And then Steven is in manual labor. You do what for a living? Exactly.
Do tile and flooring.
Installation.
Yeah.
And which is extremely arduous and intense on the body. So that means different things for those who are engaged in the lifting of weights. And so hopefully that's interesting to you if you fall into one of those two categories or adjacent colors of collars. I'd like to see the AI transcribe that.
Hey, yeah.
Anyway, welcome aboard. And this is going to be a quick one today. We're getting in and out because it's already freaking late and we have to lift weights in the morning.
We do.
So,
we should be
why am I
already.
so animated tonight? I don't know what happened. I'm kind of juiced up.
You probably made a real coffee.
Yep. Yeah, it might have been the wrong bag of coffee. Anyway, what do we do? Typically, we go into a topic, but before we do that, we do maybe a recap. But before we do that, we like to talk about the sponsor for today's episode, which, drum roll, please. Be cooler if you were sitting behind your drums, which we can see from here.
Yeah. I'm not back there.
You're not back there. But yeah, it's a pretty special sponsor.
Who is it? Apparently it's your cell phone. You text it.
You told me to buy this watch, and then it dings, and I can't not look at it. It's just us. We've tried to get money involved here, but so far it's a free endeavor, as they say.
We almost got a sponsor.
We did. We've turned a couple down, and we're going to keep doing that until we find the right one. That's the heartwarming way. What that really means.
One of them is like blown up. It's in every store that I go in now.
You're talking about the, we can't say.
Yeah, we can't say it. I'm just saying. Yeah. Nick caused us not to make money.
That's true. Yeah.
So I
did not want to take on a sponsor for something that I couldn't use.
He could use it.
And now I realize I could have. But at the time, I did not believe that I could.
Just saying, we could have money.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But anyway, until such time as a sponsor is officially involved. We get to say what we want, and we're not really owned by the man.
True.
So we're
broke.
I'm trying to frame it nice.
I'm kidding.
Anyway, what you can do to help us, if you'd like to, you can leave us a review on your favorite podcasting app. That goes a really long way toward kind of making us stick out in the rankings and bringing in new listeners. Also, the other thing you can do that would be amazing, costs nothing, is just tell somebody about the show. If you like us, if you dislike us, pass it on.
Yeah.
And, we would be truly appreciative of that. And if you really want to give us money, there are ways to do that. You can buy merch at shop.workingmansweightlifting.com. And you can also just donate directly at support.workingmansweightlifting.com. Other than that, thanks for being here and lending us your ear, as I like to say. Moving on, let's do a really quick recap. This is kind of an exciting one for me, so I'm just going to keep going. Which is that I'm finally back in the gym after the birth of my second son, which was approximately 4.5 months ago. And frankly, I had not really done much lifting before that for the last couple of years, which is part of the reason we had a bit of a hiatus on this show. But I'm back. I feel really fired up for some reason. I know you can't just live off motivation alone in the gym. We've talked a lot about that. Sort of discipline over motivation. But for some reason, I don't know, my 37th birthday is in a couple of weeks, and I feel the Grim Reaper upon me. And I guess there's something about it, as having a second kid. Like I don't feel that bad, but I can see this future where, like, if I didn't take it seriously now and sort of course correct, I would sort of, I could see myself just becoming full Job of the Hutt because I'm so sedentary in my work. That's a big thing. We talk about that with our jobs. Like I go out and visit people maybe a couple times a week for work, but rarely is it actually strenuous. And other than that, like I'm behind a desk and often don't even stand up for hours at a time. And so it's like, I don't know. I just worry that would not be a good path to be on. Yeah. And so, I want to be strong for my boys, and I'm excited to do it. So I am back doing a program that's new for me, which is starting. No, I keep saying starting strength. It's Strong Lifts Plus. Is that what it's called? I think. Yeah. Which is 2 days of like heavy lifting and then 1 day of upper body hypertrophy. And I'll probably do, I'll do a review of that program, or we'll do a review of that because you're kind of doing the same thing or a similar thing.
Yep.
So we'll talk about that after we've been on it for a few months. And we like to do reviews of programs that we do. So stick around for that if you're interested. But that's my recap. Been doing it, really enjoying it so far, and feeling good. So how about yourself?
No, you said everything. Not much left. We're both pretty much doing the same program with some swaps in some of the lifts, but at the moment, I've been very much enjoying the lifting days, and that's kind of where that program has a little bit to do with our topic for today's episode.
Sure.
But so far the program, if you if you're in a place where like you enjoy heavy strength training, where you like a sort of like powerlifting, but I wouldn't really call it a powerlifting program at all, but in the lower rep ranges, heavy weight, but you also enjoy some bodybuilding type movements. It's a nice blend of the two where you kind of scratch the itch of both styles in the same week, and it kind of keeps it exciting.
Nice.
But not a lot to say at the moment about that, but I have been getting stronger again at squats and deadlifts, where I'd taken a long break off of really pushing myself hard. Nothing too insane at the moment, not hitting any PRs or anything, but definitely getting some mojo back, I would say.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you immediately complain about your back or something like that. Which used to happen more regularly than you would have liked. And we always like to remind people that like so many of the fitness influencers you see either work desk jobs and just work out really hard in the gym, or they are just full-time influencers. So what you don't understand is like someone who installs flooring and tile, the number of reps that your body is going through on a daily basis of repetitive tasks on your back, your joints, your everything is so high. It's unbelievably high.
For sure.
So that is going to alter like what you're, able to do or what you should do. Maybe is a better way to say it.
Right.
We've done episodes on that, so you can kind of look back at the catalog and if you're interested in that topic. But I'm saying that out loud because it's not like I mainly don't want somebody to think that we're like peddling some kind of experience or knowledge or advice that's like, also, by the way, we're constantly fighting injuries. It's like, well, that's more from the thousands of tiles.
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving on to the topic of the day. This was your idea.
Yeah. Frequency
and volume. And I'm going to say it in a more ASMR sort of way. I'm going to say frequency. And I'm going to say volume.
Wow.
I'm going to delete all that later. Anyway, what are your thoughts? I had to set it up to get you off your feet, man.
So training frequency and volume. If you don't know what that means, if you're very new to the terms.
One of the dumber things I've ever done. Immediate regrets. Sometimes I'm silly and it works. That one didn't work. Deleting later. Nice. Go ahead. Proceed.
Okay. Training frequency and volume. If you don't know what that is, it is simply how often you train and basically how much you train, or how many, to break it down in workout terms, it's like how many sets you're doing and how often you do that. How many times do you hit the same muscle or body part or whatever. So for a quick example would be, we've talked about like starting strength on this podcast before. You squat 3 times a week. That is very high frequency because you're squatting. You're literally squatting 3 times a week. Strong lifts, like you just mentioned, same thing. If you do the normal program, you squat 3 times a week, high frequency. The confusing part, I guess, would be volume. You can have high frequency and like low volume. Volume just means how much. So, like volume in a cup, glass full of water. So if it's high volume, it's full of water. It doesn't mean just because you're hitting it frequently, it doesn't mean the volume is necessarily high. So like with starting strength, it's really just 3 sets of 5 reps. That's not really super high volume. You'll see some programs out there, where you're doing 5 sets of 10. 5 through 1 is one of those programs where you do 3 working sets of 5, 3, 1 set, and then you do 5 sets of 10 after that. That's super high volume, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Some people might be able to handle more than that. I think that's insane volume, especially for like a deadlift or a squat. And I just saw a little podcast snippet of Wendler literally saying he probably shouldn't have done 5 sets of 10 deadlifts when he did it, but he wanted to try it when he wrote the program.
I'm going to insert very quickly, just for if anybody's unfamiliar, the 5 through 1 is a very popular weightlifting program that has many different sort of templates within it. And Jim Wendler is the guy who wrote those programs. You can look him up. He's written several books and has a website. What's the website called?
It might be jimwendler.com, honestly.
Okay.
I'm not.
There's a lot of forums online about it. We've done episodes on 531.
Yeah. We did it for years.
When we first got into
weightlifting.
And the one you just mentioned is not the only one in the, 5 sets of 10 after. Is that boring but big, I guess? Yeah. But there's other templates within it. So I just want to make sure that was what you were referring to is clear.
Yeah. So basically that's what that means. The program Nick and I are doing right now, the Strong Lifts Plus, the frequency goes way down. So you actually squat once a week. you deadlift once a week, and then I should say the frequency of like lower body basically goes way down. So you're kind of just having to focus on like one heavy squat day, one heavy deadlift day.
Yeah.
Then you still do some upper body work on those 2 days. And then the third day is like all upper body hypertrophy, like you mentioned earlier. For me, I mean, really my thinking for the episode is just, if anyone has, if you're wondering, like if you do a program that's high frequency or like a full body 3 day a week or something, and you're kind of getting beat up feeling. So for me, personal example, my knees were really starting to bother me at work. My strength level was going up. I was hitting all my reps. I was doing strong lifts, mad cow. You've heard us talk about in the past. I like that program a lot. I was just doing that constantly, squatting 3 times a week, hit every one of my reps. I don't think I ever failed a single set.
Yeah.
And I was getting stronger and I felt good, but my knees were killing me. Like, and when I say killing me, I mean, it was like, I was fine to do the lift, but I'd be like sitting at the table or sit down at my desk to like do anything. And my knees would just hurt. And they hurt a little bit at work. I mean, usually once you get moving, you kind of get, warmed up at work and it's not that big of a deal. But like the initial shock of getting on my knees at work was really starting to hurt. So what I decided to do is I wanted to lower the frequency. So I was looking for a program to get off of squatting 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And I was honestly going to just make a program of my own. And then I saw this, Strong Lifts Plus that you were talking about. And I had forgotten about it. I did it a long time ago for a really short period of time, but I was like, shoot, I'm just going to, since I'm already in the app, using the app and all this stuff we've talked about, how much we like that. I was like, I'm just going to lower the frequency, but try to keep the numbers the same. So I've continued to hit my reps every week. That's what I was worried about. The lack of frequency. That frequency also helps you with practice. So like if you're not very good at a squat, you do it 3 times a week, you get better. Like you're better at the movement. Lowering the frequency, I wouldn't necessarily suggest to an absolute beginner because you probably aren't lifting very heavy anyway.
Right.
Your knees might not be bothering you from that specific movement. Once you get some experience, you move into like intermediate levels and stuff. I think it's smart to start kind of listening to your body. And that's literally what I was doing. I was just like, I'm not going to continue to just pound my knees and feel miserable outside of the gym. I love hitting heavy weights, but I also like feeling better outside of the gym. I want the gym to kind of help me feel better. So as of right now, the lack of frequency has not hurt my progress at all. I've still hit my reps. We've been doing this for a few weeks, I think.
Yeah.
I've hit my reps every time. The deadlifts, I don't have to worry so much about, like you said, my back. The other thinking there was that my back does tend to go out on me if I just overuse it basically in the gym. So now only having to focus on deadlifts on Wednesday, I don't just wear my back out with squats beforehand, bench press beforehand, and then deadlift after that. Now I can just start the day on Wednesday with deadlifts and then follow it up with some other movements afterwards. But I'm really trying to be conscious of my body and like see what feels better. Like if I'm hurting from this or anything, there still may be some tweaks I do to it in the future. But at the moment, for me, lowering the frequency has been kind of amazing. And that was really my thinking for the episode is just, if you're a person listening that you really like your program, you're getting stronger, but you just kind of feel like crap, or you're like me and you are a blue collar guy and you're just using your body all the time and you're just worried that maybe you need to take a little break, give your body a break from just high frequency and hitting something over and over and over. I still think full body programs are pretty awesome. This is very much a full body program.
Yeah.
What we're doing. And you can, you don't have to just like hold yourself to starting strength or whatever, where you have to squat 3 times a week. You can still do full body and pick a different movement. So like, for example, I still use our glute ham developer. I'll do like back raises, or I'll do like a Nordic ham curl kind of thing on it. So I'm still hitting legs. I'm just not picking up a super heavy barbell and like pounding my joints with it.
Right.
So really all that to say, I think it's a good thing to think about that with the frequency, and the volume, just adjusting how much you do it. Volume, I didn't really touch that much on that, but this program in particular, I would say is pretty high volume for your upper body. You do a couple days and more in the 5 rep range, 3 sets, 5 sets of 5, somewhere in there. But then I guess it's 5 sets of 5. And then on Friday, you actually do 3 sets of 8. So you're kind of hitting that little bit higher rep range. But it's all more or less all upper body on Friday. So the volume kind of shoots up. But to me, in the kind of work I do, upper body volume doesn't tend to really mess me up at all. The only thing that happens sometimes if I'm working a lot with tiles and I have to spread thin set or adhesive or anything, my elbows or my shoulders will get really tired. But I wouldn't say they hurt real bad. Like they don't like go out like your back might or something.
Yeah, and also they're just going to do that. I mean,
Exactly.
Who would be able to do that work and just feel amazing?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And usually you don't. I mean, usually you're not like there's certain days where I have a really heavy day of troweling, and then other days where it's not like I'm moving 90 miles an hour trying to do everything. So I get a little bit of break on that. So I don't really have to worry about that too much in the gym, but certainly with my back, picking up heavy boxes all day, heavy buckets, essentially doing mini deadlifts all day long, mini lunges, like you said. So to me, thinking about that, especially getting older, like you said, you're turning 37, I'm about to turn 34. I can just tell a difference in my knees and things like that. So I just want to be careful with that and make sure that I'm able to use the gym to help me perform better outside of that.
How many years into, I know I keep harping on your job, but it is part of the show. So how many years are you now into professional flooring? Like what was your age when you started that?
I think I was either 21 or 22.
So you're like 12 years in,
something
roughly.
Like that, yeah.
So that's the other thing I'm talking about.
But it's been like more or less full time on my knees like that.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy.
It's very hard to parse out what is the cause of the feeling of your knees. But if I'm guessing, it's the job.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because I, for instance, don't really ever experience that from training other than like the phase I'm in right now and how I've been here many times, which is like when I first get back to it. So if I've taken a break from lifting and then I go back, you always have that like 2 week long, just everything is sore all the time phase.
Yeah.
And when that happens, like I like going up and down stairs, I'm like, oh, I have straight jelly legs. But I'm starting to get over that hump already. Like I feel much better today than I did at this same time last week. Like after the the day before. So I think, maybe another week or so, I'll be pretty much where I'll be. I'm always probably a little bit more sore than some people kind of talk about, but I think part of that is just like,
I think some people just experience that more than others.
Yeah. And the reality too is sort of documented on this show is that unlike you, I have taken many like long breaks away from weightlifting. So I think I just have more sort of ground to make up, whereas you are just very accustomed to being super physical all the time. And so it's like, that's just not really going to happen to the same degree. But
right.
I guess before we shut it down, can you talk a little bit about what hypertrophy is and what that means for anyone who's like not accustomed or acquainted to that term and why you would focus on that or not focus on it? I mean, I feel like I have a relative understanding of it, but actually, let me start. I'll just regurgitate what I think, and then you tell me what I'm wrong about. My understanding is that if you lift in the low rep ranges, you are that is better for supporting strength gains, but not as effective for growing size of muscles. I don't really know what effect that has on like other performance aspects, like explosiveness, like for athletes or something like that. I don't know anything about that. We've actually had guests on the past that could talk a lot better about that. But I guess my understanding is if you move into a higher rep range, like you said, 8 reps earlier, and then I guess all the way up to maybe 12 or 15. I think that is, correct me if I'm wrong, if that's the hypertrophy range. So the goal there is more about building size, and I don't, maybe what I'm confused about is I don't really know how they're related. Like, I guess at a certain point, maybe you need to grow your muscles so that you can re-strengthen them. I mean, I don't really know how that kind of works out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. Hypertrophy range, I would say 8, what you would traditionally call it be 8 to 15, somewhere in there. After that, they usually call it, you're more or less building like stamina, you're just
almost like a fighter.
Yeah, like you're doing
athletic stuff.
Yeah, you're basically doing it so you can get used to doing something repeatedly over and over and over. Something like a kettlebell swing, where you might do like a set of 20 or 30 straight or something like that.
Yeah.
The reasoning, where they both kind of relate to each other is, and I was confused about that for a long time when I first started. Basically, you need to get stronger, so you need to lift somewhere in the 5 reps is kind of, it's just been learned that people have learned that is the best rep range where you can kind of exert the most force. It still helps you grow muscle, but you also get a lot stronger. It doesn't throw you into that higher rep range where you're just failing because it's so many reps. You're strong enough, you can lift more weight, but you're failing because of how many reps you have to do. So the 5 reps is like kind of the sweet spot, especially for men. I think there's some studies that say women can be closer to like triples, like three reps. They can perform better and get stronger like that. And I know like my wife she's had a lot of success doing triples like that. But anyway, 5 reps helps you get stronger. The higher rep range, 8, 12, 15, supposedly helps you grow your muscle more, but why you would want to do that essentially is that people say mass moves mass. So if you are like super scrawny, it's going to be really hard to build a really heavy bench press. There are some outliers out there that pull it off, but typically the small guys that are really strong are more or less only really strong at like a deadlift or a squat. They don't ever really get that strong at a bench press because you need more mass. So what they'll usually, somebody would probably tell you is like eat more and then like, hammer your lats, like do a lot of heavy rows, croc rows, barbell rows, pull-ups, whatever, and builds like really big lats, get some like a big base that you're bench pressing against. And if you look at the guys that bench press a lot of weight, that's typically they're big guys, like they're not little guys. So the part that I was always confused about is that I was like, well, you can't, what happens is if you just focus on hypertrophy, you're probably going to hit a plateau pretty early simply because you're doing like sets of 12 and you're not, you can't really add a lot of weight rapidly to the bar week after week doing sets of 12 because you're just like burning so much. Some people may be able to, and you probably would get pretty big doing that, but it's generally accepted that like 5 reps is easier to recover from. You don't get so sore. You're talking about the soreness. That's the other problem. That's what Wendler was talking about with the 5 sets of 10. You get so freaking sore. You have trouble like sitting down sometimes if you're doing squats or deadlifts like that. And especially if you're doing both of those in the same week, 50 extra reps of deadlifts after you're working heavy sets is a ton of reps of a deadlift or a squat. And I've done that when we were younger. I did both of them pretty frequently like that. And it did. I mean, honestly, that's the worst soreness I've ever had with working out like that. And that's more or less where the relation comes in, is that, you're getting so sore, it's hard to recover. You really can't hit the frequency as high because you're doing, the volume is so high. So like you're doing, say you were trying to follow strong lifts or starting strength, and instead of 3 sets of 5, you're trying to do 3 sets of 12. Well, there's no way you're going to do 3 sets of 12 or 5 sets of 12 if you're doing strong lifts 3 times a week. And actually add weight to the bar every time. It's impossible. You'll probably Monday hit the 12s, and then Wednesday they might be more like 10s, and then Friday you might squeeze out 8s, but they're all at the same weight because you weren't able to add weight to the bar because just can't. You're so sore. 5, you can recover quicker. You're doing heavy weight. You're not just like hammering the muscle. You're hitting it just enough that it's going to grow. It's going to get stronger. And you will get hypertrophy from that. Like, especially if you're untrained, 100% you're going to get bigger. Even me, honestly, later in life, I was able to add muscle by figuring that out and starting to add strength training into my training instead of just straight hypertrophy. Because for the first several years, I didn't know any better, and I just was hammering high rep stuff all the time.
Right.
So it's just easy. Basically, it's like the easiest way to add weight to the bar, which in theory you will grow and you will also get stronger, is to just do it like less reps. So 5 reps just tends to be a good number. Everybody kind of falls into for that. But yeah, where the relation comes is basically at a certain point, you may hit a plateau and you need to get bigger to lift more weight, basically. And so,
yeah, okay. That's, I guess in my head, when I first brought it up, I was sort of thinking that, like, almost like I was intuiting that, but that makes a lot of sense that you basically need to sort of upgrade the like, you got to build a bigger compartment for your engine in your car before you can put a bigger engine in it.
Yeah. So, and it's, especially with the upper body, like I said, there's a lot of skinny guys and small guys that have deadlifted a pretty crazy amount of weight.
Sure. Look up max tuning.
Right. Yeah. And squatting, even I've seen some really skinny guys do some pretty dang impressive squats for how light they are and how small they are. But the bench press is always where I'm not saying they're weak by any means, but it's not going to be anything crazy. They're not breaking any records or anything like that, because it's just simply, it just doesn't move like that.
That makes sense. And that's the thing that I think we both want to improve. And you're doing a lot. You're a lot further along than I am. My bench press has been garbaggio for years, so I'm on a path to try to improve that. And I would say in general that my body composition is better below the belt than it is above, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm excited to try to build more like definition. Like, I definitely have just a bit blobby up top, and I think because frankly, like, I just ignored a lot of that stuff for years. Mm-hmm. There was a certain point, I don't know when, I couldn't tell you when, but when you started to really educate yourself, and I'm always mooching off your knowledge, I kind of just got this message that, like, nothing really matters except the big 4 lifts. So just do those. And I couldn't even really do all 4 of those because I had shoulder issues, but I was just doing that. And now it really shows, because like my legs are a lot stronger, way stronger than my upper body is. And now I feel like it's a good idea for me to like balance that out. So I'm excited about that. I learned, approaching it differently this time. It's been a very long time since I've done anything in that higher rep range. With, to any, I guess, meaningful number, And one thing I didn't want to clarify for anybody who's like a straight beginner, when we talk about different rep ranges like this, it is not the case that you lift the same amount of weight within both ranges. You modify it heavily. So the 5 rep range, you're probably lifting anywhere from, probably somewhere in the 80% of what you're capable of range. Is that right? 70, 80%?
Somewhere, probably more like 80, 85, somewhere in there.
And then if you're doing high reps, you're probably more like 50. Am I getting that right? Ish?
Maybe it depends.
45.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It kind of depends on the reps you're doing.
And certain exercises are also just like for instance, I'm doing some shoulder, like, I forget what you call, like lat raises and stuff.
Yeah.
That's literally, I'm using a 5-pound dumbbell, but it burns crazy. And it's you just cannot lift a lot of weight, dude. It's just something your body's not built for a very heavy thing. So just, bear that in mind when you're looking at these different rep ranges. It's not the same amount of weight you change based on what you're doing. So,
and I'll add one more thing about the frequency. Something you can do if you are the kind of person that wants to lift every day or do something active every day, you can add more volume and more frequency, really, with body weight movements. Windler is that's another one of his new things. Is his whole like walrus training thing is high frequency, high volume. Like he does a lot of reps. Yeah. But there's other guys you can find online that do kind of like calisthenic training. It's literally like push-ups, pull-ups, squats, that kind of stuff. And they do it every day, and you can just hit it over and over because you can recover really quickly from that kind of training. And so, if you are looking to like hit something, or if you just want to work out daily because you just want to be, that just feels good to you and it helps you, like whatever, it might help you relax, it might help you feel better about yourself, whatever.
Yeah.
Look into some of these guys that do these bodyweight programs. You might really, really enjoy it, or you may even add it as like a off day thing for your current program. If you're not, like, I've done that in the past. I don't do it very often anymore because I usually am looking to rest a little bit in between, but it is fun to do. And sometimes they're really enjoyable because you are able to get in the gym like every day, and it's just kind of fun that way.
Very good. Good stuff. Well, I think we'll probably wrap it up there. It's getting late, and we got to get up and work out tomorrow. Not to brag. That was weird too. I'm not on it tonight. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, thanks for being here, and we hope that you've enjoyed this show and that you'll come back for the next one. Again, do us a big favor if you'd share it with someone else you know who might be into this kind of thing. That is honestly the best way you can help us out, and we truly appreciate that. You can also find us on social media. We're on Instagram at Working Man's Weightlifting. We have a website, www.workingmansweightlifting.com. And I think that's all I'm going to say. Until next time, I've been Nick.
I've been Steven.
And we've been the Working Men who lift weights and talk about it on this show. We will catch you next time. Why am I saying next time? I already said next time. What do I normally say?
Good night.
Bye-bye.